Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Got a really highly requested one for you guys today. We're going to do Pantera's version of Planet Caravan. Black Sabbath originally did this. The versions actually sound quite similar, but this one has been requested more, and I really love Dimebag's solo on it, so we're going to do this one. I am tuned down a half step, so tune every string down a half step to match the recording there. And please, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And when you do that, ring that little notification bell, and so you'll know when I release a new video. And check out my Guitar Academy at GuitarLessons365.com. Got all my guitar courses there. Some really fun stuff. All right, so let's start with this track. We only have one thing to do rhythm guitar-wise. It goes throughout the entire song. And then I'm going to cover Dimebag's solo over that as well. So let's start with what's going on in the rhythm. It's a really cool little riff. So you hit the low E open. I'm going to call it the E string, even though we know it's an E flat, but let's not confuse ourselves here. Mostly me. So open E there, then the second fret there on the A string, and then the fifth fret there on the D. So just let these ring out together, and then you're going to pick the top three strings that are open. So we have this. So pretty simple. Then just take your pinky and move it back one fret to the fourth fret, and then strum from the D string all the way across to the open high E. So it's just you're picking four strings instead of three, before, like we did before. Now, when you hear them play this, when you do this chord, you really don't need that high E string in there. It's still ringing from the first one. It sounds like he's kind of really stopping at the B string in the strum. So if you want, you can just hit strum from that D, G, and B when you move back to the fourth fret there. So we have this. Then we're going to play the second fret on the D. And when you get to this next section, you switch to the next part, you might want to use your palm or your index finger to mute the low E string so it's not ringing over this part. So we're going to play use your pinky to play the fifth fret on the A, the fourth fret on the D. Then you're going to have the open G string and the open B. So like this. Once again, let them all ring together. And then you're going to pick through it again, except this time it's going to be a little different. We're going to play that fifth fret on the A, fourth fret on the D again, open G, but then you're going to go to the second fret of the G. So instead of that open B, it's going to go open G to second fret on the G. So like this. And then repeat. See how my index finger came over and muted that low E there? Or you can use your palm down here to mute that low E. Okay, so it's a pretty simple riff. As soon as you get it down, it just has creates this really cool vibe that they do throughout the entire track. And then we get to Dimebag solo. So I'm going to have just a little back-end track of that riff going so you can hear where I'm at within the solo, because you can get lost, especially with solos like this, which have a lot of little improvised stuff to it. So let me play the solo for you real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it phrase by phrase. right, so for those who want to learn this solo note for note, it's going to be a little bit difficult because some of these this is kind of like, some of these licks are obviously quite improvised. We'll do our best, but you might actually want to continue, even if you learned the solo note for note. You know, the album fades out, so I kind of stop where the fade out starts. You can just continue on. The solo, for the most part, if you want to know the scales, it's in E Dorian is what he's using most of the time, or the E minor blues scale, E blues. So it's just really those two scales that he's kind of going back and forth between. And then you can kind of create your own improvisation on it. If you don't really know how to play E Dorian and all that stuff, you can do it by just visualizing D major across the fretboard, the same notes. All right, so let's start here with this first phrase. All right, so that starts here at the 4th fret on the D, then 5-7 on the A. And then we're going to slide into that 7, then play 5-7 on the D, and then, now this right here, you can do a quick little slide up and down from 7 up to 8, back down to 7, pull up to 5. Or you can do it all as hammer-ons, blows. Whatever you think sounds the best. So you do that little, then come back and hit 5 twice. Then pull off 7 to 5 on the A string, and then back to the 7. Sorry, this. Then you're going to slide into that 7, over to 5 on the D, slide down to 4, and then go back 5-7 on the A. So all together. All right, now this next phrase looks like this. I'm sorry. All right, so this starts with 2 quick, they're very light. I mean, it's a very dynamic solo. You'll hear him kind of just barely hit some notes and really dig in on some others. So kind of, so we have this little, kind of 2 quick hits on the 5 on the A string, 7 on the A, to 5 on the D. And then you're gonna do 4 quick slides from 8 down to 7 on the D. Pull off to 5, over to 7 on the A, back to 5 on the D string. So we have this. Then you go back to that 7 on the A, and then you just play these really lightly, like 5, 4 on the D to 7 on the A string. So it's very dynamic. And then we have this kind of our first little lick that happens a little bit higher in the range. So look at this. All right, so we have, you want to rake into that note actually. So I'm kind of raking into the 7th fret on the B string. So just rake, have these strings muted, and hammer on to the play 7, 8, pull off to 7, down to 5, and then pull off 7 to 5. Then you're gonna slide from 7 down to 6 on the G string, and then pull off 7 to 6. And then right there, he holds that note for an 8th note. So it's twice as long as the other ones are what 16th is. And then we're gonna play 7 again on the G, over to 7 on the D, and and then slide it down to the 4th fret there on the D. All right, now we have a longer phrase, which at the beginning we can get the notes right, but then he kind of starts going into the same thing. He starts kind of doing like just kind of going through the scale of E Dorian. So let me start with it. So that's that next phrase there. It's a little bit longer, so it's going to be. This little phrase, this little lick, he repeats a couple times. He goes 7, pull off 8 to 7 on the B, over to 7 on the G. So we have this, then up to 10 on the B, then back to that 7 on the G. So we have this. Then do that lick again. Play this. Then we go back to the 7 and 8 here. Just 7, 7, 8, 7, over to 9 on the G. And then here, I'm just going to kind of really let you start doing whatever you want to do. What I do there, just to kind of mimic what he's doing, you're going to see this lick a lot. He's playing the little hammer pull between 2 notes, then slide down. And do the same thing. So it's kind of easy, just do that. Just do that throughout the scale. So I'm just doing 7, 8, then 5, 7, that little 3-note lick. And then the same thing here. This is the note that makes it Dorian, by the way, the C sharp. I know we're tuned down a half step here, but you know, we're going to call it a C sharp anyway. So then between this 6 and 7, you do that little hammer pull. Slide down to 4, and then do that between 4 and 6. And then here, between 5 and 7, and then 4 and 5, and then play 5th fret on the on the A string, and then slide into that 7th fret. So we have this. So when you put it all together, sounds pretty close to the album. And then we have this, which is a quick little slide into the 9th fret on the D, back to the 5th fret on the D string. All right, so after that longer lick, we have this phrase. All right, so once again, this is kind of a little improvised, that's out of an E blues scale. So we have just 7th fret on the A string, and 5, 7 on the D. We cut a little hammer onto that flat 5 there, the 8th fret there, back to the 7th fret, and then pick 7, 5 over to 7 on the on the A string. That's what it is. And then back to the 5 on the D. Then we're going to slide up. You gotta just lightly slide into this 9th fret there on the D string, and then play 7, 9 on the G. Bend that 8th fret there, and then over to the 9th fret on the G again. So we have this. All right, the next phrase. So this is one of those licks, it's kind of hard to get exactly like he's doing it as well. He just really messed around with a few different notes, but just the little articulations he's using are really hard to exactly mimic. But we're gonna kind of slide into the 9th fret there on the G, over to 8 on the B, and then play 11 on the B. And then what we're going to do here, now we're going to pick 10, hammer onto that 11, pull back off to 10, and pull off to 8. So this. So, sorry. Then we'll have 9 on the G, 10 on the B string, back to that 9, then to 8 on the B. So hear this. So when you hit this 8 here, you're going to go back up and play that 10, that little lick again, that little 10, hammer 11, pull back to 10, pull off to 8. So this. Then you'll go back to the 9th fret on the G, and then just play between 10 and 8 a couple of times on the B string. Bend up that 8th fret and release. So altogether, I know it's kind of a confusing lick. So just getting anything to mess. It's going to sound fine. Just kind of mess around with those notes. All right, now the next lick, favorite lick in the solo, probably many of you solos, many of you in watching this, looks like this. Actually, going to start from here. All right, so the way he plays this is quite unique. So he's starting now, as you know, Dimebag had a really kind of, his fingers are always going straight up and they're really kind of high arcing over the fretboard. He had a very, wild approach here, a very unorthodox way of playing the guitar. So you're gonna slide up to from 10 to 15. You're gonna pick that and pick it a couple times, slide down to 14, and then you're gonna hammer on 15 on the G and 17 on the D. Now start that exact same lick now from the 14th fret. And then from the 13th. Try this. So you gotta really get those notes hammered up. And then jump back here to the 10th fret, and he liked to do his bends with his index finger a lot. So a full step bend there at the 10th fret, really cool lick. So we have this. All right, then we're going to jump up here. So that's going to be kind of raking into that 12th fret on the high E string. And then 14, 15, 17. And then you're going to go ahead and pre-bend that 17 and then pick it at a full bend. Instead I go, you're not going to bend into it. And then you're going to pick that again, release the bend, pull off to 15, pull off to 14, and pull off 17 to 15 on the B string, over to 15 on the high E string, and then end it with the bend there on the 15th fret on the B. So it is. So you can hammer on those notes on the B string if you want. And then we have these just kind of in the solo. And that's when the fade out starts, so I just kind of stop there because the notes become really difficult to hear after that. So this little, it's just, you're already bending here. You're going to have to probably grab it with a different finger though. Do a pre-bend at that 15th fret. And release the bend and pull off to the 12th fret. And then play 15, 14 on the G. That's that blues note again. Then we're going to come back here, back to a Dorian. You're going to play 6 on the G, hammer on to 7, pull back up to 6. And then go over to the 7th fret on the B string and just between 7 and 8, just go 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, just completely legato. And then 9th fret on the G, and then slide into that 9. And that's kind of where I end it there with the solos. So it's really melodic solo. Got some really cool stuff, some unique licks, and some challenging stuff as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's a great take on this great Black Sabbath song by the late, great Dimebag. So hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.